Louisiana All-American Sports Show. 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 Louisiana. If the sports you wanna talk about, then listen to the hottest show that's coming out the South. It's Gerard, Hatfield, and Coach Perry Daniels, man. They're gonna sit you down and tell you all about the game and make it plain. 96.9 FM, that's the station. To hear the best sports talk show in the nation. Without hesitation, you should get with this and get your popcorn ready for you better not miss. Louisiana All-American Sports Show. Louisiana All-American Sports Show. Louisiana All-American Sports Show. Louisiana. It's Joker B. Check us out.
I'm just so fresh, so clean. Good morning. Good morning, Baton Rouge. Actually, it is a beautiful Saturday today. It's a perfect day to be outside. So if you're outside, you should be on your radio on 96.9 FM. That's the station to listen to the best sports talk show in the nation. Hey, anyway, I can't rap as well as Joker, but tune on in. It's a great day to be listening to sports and a great day to be tuned into the Louisiana All-American Sports Show on 96.9 FM, WHYR Baton Rouge Community Radio. Good morning. This is Eric Hatfield.
And I'm Gerard Piper, a.k.a. Joker P.
And I'm Coach Perry Daniels.
And it is showtime again here in Baton Rouge as we have a whole lot to talk about, so I'll skip the pleasantries and formalities and just jump right on into it. There are trophies and plaques and titles and awards being handed out down in New Orleans right now as the state football championships are underway. And, we're going to lead off our buffet of discussion with a group, with a school, with a bunch of kids that we've talked about for a lot in the last couple of years, and those are the Southern Lab Kittens. And guess what? They finally have come through after a long journey, after reaching the semifinals in 2013 to be eliminated, after reaching the finals in 2014 and having their hearts crushed at the hands of Ouachita Christian. Finally, the Southern Lab Kittens have become state champions, Division IV state champions, with an absolute thrashing of St. Mary's yesterday in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome by the final score of 36-2 in a game that was never competitive. It was like a Mike Tyson first-round knockout as the Kittens scored 3 rapid touchdowns in the first quarter. Kirtland Williams set the tone off with a punt return for a touchdown almost as soon as the game started.
Wow.
Bladrick Veal lit him up with some long bombs, and of course Darby Prophet did what he always did, and that was run the ball down the throats of the St. Mary's Tigers. It was never close. St. Mary's was 13-0 coming into that game, but that goose egg got taken off the board very decisively. Just a big-time congratulations to rookie first-year head coach Marcus Randall at Southern Lab, and those kids at Southern Lab. We've thrown the names out. We talked about Bladrick Veal, the quarterback, who's also a basketball player, and Darby Prophet, the running back, and Kirtland Williams, and Pat Green, and Xavier Bell, and Dorian Welch, the linebacker, and Jannard Robinson, who was on the show last week. And I know I'm skipping over some names.
Hey, I know one name you skipped over.
Who's that?
I want to give condolences to Coach Nick Mitchell. First, and then
wow!
That was like an underhand slow pitch. I had to take that.
Turn up the auxiliary real quick, as I hear people outside are.
And that's the one. At least one Southern team did win something. At least, you know what I mean?
Oh, that was our live audience outside. Couldn't believe what you said. Ouch! I'll tell you, sometimes that's how it happens. Look, now I know. I mean, I'm sure Coach Mitchell.
American Sports Show.
If Coach Mitchell ever gets into a conversation about Tony Dungy and the Buccaneers and John Gruden, I am sure he can say I can relate to that firsthand, as he knows what it feels like when you coach a team up and get them on the precipice of a championship, and then someone else comes and takes over. But that's sometimes how it happens. Coach Mitchell had a better opportunity. No one blames him for taking it. Coach Randall came in. He made some changes to the offense. Wow. He flipped some switches. I could see it with my own 2 eyes. They were lined up in the I formation half of the time in that semifinal game against Vermilion Catholic, and which, as opposed to with Coach Mitchell, they were in the spread almost every down except for short yardage situations.
Right.
Maybe that was the difference. Obviously, these kids have grown and matured, but Coach Randall got it done, and those kids got it done. And just big props and congratulations to everyone involved. It takes a village, and I'm just really proud to have followed this ascension so closely of these Southern Lab kittens and watch them grow physically and athletically and emotionally and as leaders,
like
as young men.
Like a kid,
right?
Almost.
Like a kid.
I'm just kidding with Coach Nick Mitchell, man. Really, we talked about this last night, and I was saying I kind of gave an analogy of how you talked about with Tony Dungy lost the team and Gruden won the Super Bowl with that team, and I was saying how with Mark Jackson, the way the Golden State Warriors is playing, that how he feels now to lose Steph Curry, to have that superstar, and had a chance, opportunity, and didn't keep that job, and now look where they're at. And Coach Nick Mitchell, that was his team. He was there with them for a while, and to get a year away, that's why I was saying that. But it's in jokingly, but
Yeah, no, absolutely, because he's to be congratulated as well, because he play a large part in this championship win. And the Port Allen Pelicans are just getting started under Coach Nick Mitchell, and I anticipate some big things from that program. And Coach will be back. He'll be back to the Dome.
Oh, I don't doubt that. You can already see the development of that Port Allen. You can see it from the beginning of the year. We covered Port Allen early in the year, and then at the end of the year, and you can see the development of of the Port Allen Pelicans. And then they're going to get better next year. I have tons of confidence in Coach Mitchell. Just that kind of little piece of me wishes he could have had some of that glory. But you know what, though? Coach Randall stepped in. It's not easy to step in behind a popular coach that left kind of unexpectedly. And you remember Gerard Robinson was talking about how there were some players who were very distraught when Coach left. I mean, he was very much liked by his players. And Coach Randall came in and did what he did. And I watched him with those kids. They rallied around him. They believed in what he was. They bought what he was selling, as I say often.
Unbelievable job.
And he did a great job.
Unbelievable job, because you look at us. You look at the Baton Rouge area. Really, the hot team was Scotlandville. And Coach Valdez being there his first year and coming there and doing the things that he done. So this team kind of stayed under the radar, but they was able to be the one that brought home the chip. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So you got to give him props for that.
Speaking of, yes, sir.
If Gerard Robinson's out there listening, we did promise him some additional time. So if you give me a call, Mr. Robinson, we'd like to congratulate you on the air.
Yes, sir.
For the Southern Lab Kitten victory last night. Go ahead, Eric.
No, absolutely, and it was something else. I mean, I'll tell you, they pounced all over. St. Mary's was a team that was undefeated coming in, but they didn't. This point was brought up is that they did not play the schedule that Southern Lab played. Southern Lab took on U-High and traded blows with them for the third straight year. They got wiped out completely when you and I covered them, Perry, in 2013. They were a bit more competitive last year, and they had them on the ropes this year. That's an ascension of those kids. They played that school in Florida. It's three letters, and I forget what it is, but a team that's basically a junior college.
IMG.
IMG, yeah, which is basically a junior college. All those kids are going to play Division I football. Most of them are going to play Power 5 football. Many of them will be starters. They swap blows with them there. This is a team that even Coach Mitchell started this, and Coach Randall, picked right up on it. As far as Coach Mitchell lined up what one would call "quote unquote" superior competition, and it's just like lifting weights. You lift weights, you build up heavier and heavier weights, and all of a sudden your capacity is higher, and you can lift more. And these kittens went in there, and the only thing I'll say about this team, and this did not happen yesterday, the kittens were riddled with penalties in that Vermilion Catholic game. And speaking with some of the assistant coaches and Coach Randall, their bugaboo has been penalties all year. They had over 120 yards, like 18, 19 penalties for over 120 yards in the semifinal, and that had been a pattern all year long from what the coaches were saying. That didn't happen yesterday. I did not hear about a lot of penalty flags for either side. Probably part of the reason they won so decisively, but I say all of that to say this team truly built its way up to this championship yesterday, and it really has been a pleasure to observe, and I think we're going to see more good things because you're going to have a lot of talented underclassmen now coming through and getting there. You're going to have Quincy Fillmore, the quarterback, who I believe is a junior. He's going to get his turn at bat, so to speak, next year. And no, I think he's just a sophomore, so he's got similarly tall, strong kid, good arm. He's not Bladrick yet, but that's because he hasn't played yet. So there's going to be more to come on that side of town. Just as you can tell, I'm very proud to have been a part of witnessing and covering and helping deliver some of the success of this team.
Yes, indeed, man. Those ferocious kittens,
Yeah, I mean, tell you what, you got Lions, Jaguars have kittens.
St. Mary's mascot. So
Tigers.
A kitten defeated a tiger.
Yeah, a kitten defeated a tiger.
And did better than a jaguar.
Oh, yeah. Ouch.
So we've got some other folks in Baton Rouge that we need to congratulate. The Catholic High Bears, as well as the Parkview Baptist.
The Eagles. Yep, the Catholic High Bears. Actually, I got to say, I don't remember if I said it on the air last week or if I said it on the air during one of the broadcasts, but at some point when I realized Catholic was going to face Rummel, I said, well, that's going to be the end of that Cinderella story. Catholic seeded number 6 in Division I. Wow. The Rummel Raiders out of Metairie have been a factory since I've been a child, and they really had one amazing season this year, blowing out some good opponents. I don't know where the Bears got it, but big props to the Catholic High Bears as they went down to New Orleans and showed them how Baton Rouge rolls, defeating Rummel 31-28. I did not see that coming. Another friend of the show, Joseph Bullivus. I'm looking at the score, 7-6. I'm guessing he kicked 2 field goals, but John Arrett in the 5A semifinals knocked Mandeville out. 12-seeded Mandeville had one heck of a run. I never saw any of that coming. I didn't see them beating Scotlandville. I didn't see them winning last week, and apparently they took John Arrett to the wire. So big props. Congratulations to the Mandeville Skippers on a great season. Zachary in the 5A semifinals advanced. They crushed Parkway, so they will face Arrett in the semifinals. My money's on Zachary, even though I don't bet high school football. Other Baton Rouge area schools, West Feliciana had number 1 seeded Lutcher on the ropes for a while. We were getting updates while we were covering the basketball game last night. They were up going into the 4th, but Lutcher finally did put them away, 46-38. St. Thomas More lost to Parkview Baptist. Number 2, St. Thomas More, a minor upset. The Shrine on Airline is going to have another banner to hang as Parkview Baptist won 24-21, and that tradition continues. So big props to the Parkview Baptist Eagles. Baton Rouge, had a trifecta of championships. Of course, then you had Southern Lab putting St. Mary's away in the first round, so to speak.
Which is unusual in football. Mm-hmm. Dominated the basketball scene for years on the high school level, but we haven't been very successful in football. That goes to show that the separation of the what is now called select and non-select schools has been beneficial to the Baton Rouge area. The biggest thing that has hurt the area is that the talent has been diluted amongst all of the schools in the area. So that was the purpose of separating the two classes of football, and it's worked out well for Baton Rouge.
Yeah,
I'd like to give congratulations to Coach Brian Smith of the Lutcher Bulldogs, quarterback coach down there at Lutcher. Congratulations, you're going to the Dome. You deserve it, Coach. Great job.
Yeah, and then other action from yesterday, Notre Dame clinched the Division III state title, defeating Riverside 13-3. And in a bizarre twist, the Amite Warriors' season came to an end on a forfeit as they lost to St. James, so it's officially 2-0. I was following the drama on Twitter. I couldn't piece it together. If anybody has information, you can tweet us at LAA Sports. That's Louisiana All-American Sports, at LAA Sports. Tweet us and let us know specifically what happened. But it looked like Amite didn't show up on time. Huh?
Should I tweet? Should I tweet it?
I'm sorry, Coach. Hey, I'm sorry, man. Yeah, fill me in. What? It looked like somebody didn't show on time. What happened? Are they appealed and they went to court or something? What happened?
No. So there was a brawl at the end of the game against Bogalusa, and according to LHSAA rules, anytime there's a player in a fight during a contest, then you are automatically suspended for the next game. Since this was a bench-clearing brawl, they suspended the entire team for the next game, which caused them to forfeit.
Wow. I don't know.
Has that been done before?
Yeah.
Not that I know of No, I don't know of anything taking place like that before. The big angst to the Amite fans is that their kids were assisting one of their players who was trapped on the Bogalusa side of the field.
Right. I don't know how. That's what I'm saying, Coach. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I can tell you with just the fact that Amite defeated Bogalusa. Obviously, I don't think they started the fight. So I mean, you can tell what are you going to do? Win and then fight? So I mean, obviously, I could tell off top that probably some disappointed Bogalusa players got into it. So I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, and I saw what they said. The appeal was denied. They probably went. I'm guessing they either went to court or to the LHSAA. But regardless, I think you have to use common sense and judgment sometimes. And I don't know all the details, so I'm not questioning anyone's judgment. It just seems unusual and to me a little unfair that a season comes to an end in the playoffs under those circumstances. It's not like it's a regular season game, so that's really bizarre. I don't know how I feel about that, but it is what it is. And St. James is advancing to the finals. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm St. James. If you dance your way to the finals or even a championship via a forfeit in a late round game, that's really bizarre. So we have action coming up next week in the Superdome. We will keep you abreast of Baton Rouge area schools and how they fare. But great high school season for those programs. Baton Rouge taking the helm is no longer the New Orleans suburbs and the Shreveport and Monroe area schools dominating all the football championships. Baton Rouge is taking over.
Jigga City.
So what else we got, fellas?
Man, we had a double header.
To our segment.
Yeah. Coach, go ahead.
No, Joker was going down the right path. Go ahead, Joker.
Well, you want to talk about the doubleheader?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a doubleheader last night. It's our Louisiana All-American Sports Game of the Week. This is our first basketball game, man, and man, it was a great game.
Yeah.
Actually, it was a doubleheader. It was a Bruley tournament that they had, the annual tournament, and the first game that we did was St. Michael against Bruley Panthers.
Yeah. And
man, what a great game it really was. It turned out to be. Bruley came out and pretty much did what they wanted to do at first. Mm-hmm. And then, St. Michael was just chipping away. It started out a lot of fouls and everything being called in the first quarter and the second quarter, but then the game started to tighten up. But at the end, Bruley was a little bit too much and ended up getting. So they're going to advance to the final. It wasn't the final yet. Port Allen played in the second game. They played Patterson, which turned out to be...
That was a great game.
That was a great game.
We tried to bring you the doubleheader. We brought you the first part of that doubleheader on right here on 96.9 FM WHYR. We had some, delivered by the magic of the World Wide Web, and we had some internet difficulties here at the station. So we were able to bring most of that first game, but we had to fade back to regular programming for the Port Allen game, and that's too bad because we did deliver on Louisiana All-AmericanSports.com, and we'll also be delivering the championship game of that Bruley Invitational tournament at 7 o'clock tonight on Louisiana All-AmericanSports.com. Port Allen and Patterson slugged it out, but you know what I saw? It was at the end of the day, as much as some things changed, some things stayed the same. It was the Port Allen formula. Every time they got ahead a little bit early, they bent a little bit. Patterson made several runs in that game, but every time they were punched, they counter-punched harder, and that was really the story. And at the end, they had just enough to win. I think they won by, 8 points, 10 points, something like that?
Yeah, what it came down to, you remember...
that's right, technical foul.
He got the technical foul, and we spoke to the referee, actually, before the game, in between. He refereed both games, and he let us know then the way that he calls game. He called... He refereed on a collegiate level, and so he was the type of disciplinarian where he didn't take nothing off of high school players. If they jumped up and said anything, he was going to automatically give them a tech. And I was like, man, you kind of called it kind of quick. And he was like, hey, man, with these young guys, I try to set an example of good sportsmanship. And I have zero tolerance for any young kids that's, coming out of any type of disrespect or any type of non-sportsmanship. He convinced me. I said, you know what? I respected him for that. And at the end of the game, even though it was a close game,
right.
It was a call that was made, and the player reacted because he called the foul on him. It wasn't a big reaction, I don't think. It was just a normal, like, oh, man, and he called the tech, and that was pretty much...
And that man maintained order. He was consistent. I thought it was... look, ultimately the game was tied, and it was decided ultimately because of a technical foul. Port Allen got 2 shots and the ball. They made all of it. It was a shooting foul. He made all the baskets that put the game away in the final minute. I don't know how I felt about the game being decided that way, but he was consistent, and he told them early on. So, once you were warned,
he did it on
you know better.
Sides.
And he threw the assistant principal for Patterson out of the game.
Out of the audience.
He was like Martin Lawrence. I throw people out.
He stopped the game
and
said, "Who is that guy in the stands?" Told the sheriff, "Hey, him right there. Get him out of here."
To catch it, the technical foul incident that we were mentioning when Nigel Allen went to the line, and I was very confused. I saw Nigel get ready to shoot, then he stopped and gave the ball back to the official 3 different times, and I didn't know what was going on. And apparently, the assistant principal for Patterson kept blowing a whistle before Nigel got ready to shoot. The official turned to him and warned him, and then he did it again, and he asked the West Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff Deputy to throw him out, and they threw the assistant principal out of the game. They escorted him to the showers, or they escorted him to the parking lot. It was incredible. For those of you who are fans of the animated sitcom The Boondocks, that was the real-life version of Positive Brother Hakeem right there. Because Positive Brother Hakeem was not playing with those kids, and he kept order and maintained it. And he wasn't playing with the grown folks either. So it was a great game, a very bizarre ending. But hey, the conclusion of that comes tonight. Port Allen has won the last two Bruley Invitational tournaments over Bruley. Bruley has never won the Bruley Invitational tournament. And this is a tournament Louisiana All-American Sports has some long-running ties with, back to Louisiana All-American Sports beginnings, as we brought the Southern Lab defeating Madison Prep and Jarrell Martin that first year in 2011, then Madison Prep blowing them to smithereens in 2012. I mean, we have a long-standing history with that tournament. So I didn't
know about the players that was in the NFL and the players that was in the NBA that played in Bruley tournament. You know, they had Big Baby played in there.
Right. Tracy Porter. Obviously Jarrell Martin. Somebody from U High we're leaving out. Someone who's in the NBA. I can't spit the name out right now. But 5 players who've been in that tournament who have played either professional football, Major League Football, or basketball. Yeah, so that
one of the Temples,
thank you, Garrett Temple. That's it. Thank you.
Right, yeah, and there was one other player for Port Allen I didn't recognize.
It was an NFL player, kind of somebody Allen or Hall or something like that. Not a big name, but hey, you're in the league. Right, you're balling.
The basketball scene in South Baton Rouge is going to be tremendous this year. Everyone there should be excited between what the Southern Jaguars are doing on the hardwood, all of the excitement around LSU's basketball team.
Right.
And high school basketball is really solid in the Baton Rouge area. So you have a very good 3 to 4 months coming up in high school, college, and high school and college sports there in Baton Rouge.
Absolutely, Coach. So I'm looking forward to it. Next week, Louisiana All-American Sports Game of the Week. God willing, these internet bugs get flushed out with maybe we get some internet Terminex or something. But we should be bringing you. I believe it's Broadmoor at Bel Air. Is that Friday? Correct?
Yes,
Coach.
Correct.
I'm doing that off the top of my head. So we'll be bringing that next week. Those Bel Air Bengals are a quietly exciting team to watch under Coach Chauncey Moore. So we're looking very forward to bringing that to you at 7 p.m. right here on 96.9 FM WHYR Baton Rouge Community Radio, streaming at WHYR.org with graphic interface at LouisianaAllAmericanSports.com. Joker?
Oh, man, yes, indeed, man. And I just want to tell them to get ready for this season. And Coach made a very good point when he talked about the excitement. And it's looking like excitement a lot in basketball, even with what Golden State is doing on every level. It's just like a lot of excitement going on.
I'm sorry, you just reminded me of something. I got to give a big applause to a local team that, frankly, I've been backing over under the bus and stomping on them lately.
Where your hands
the New Orleans Pelicans.
Oh yeah,
the New Orleans.
Anthony Davis, huh?
Man, yeah, the New Orleans Pelicans found a way to defeat the defending Eastern Conference champion Cleveland Cavaliers last night in what was in overtime at the Smoothie King Center. And I got to say, it was pretty convincing. And I'm thinking to myself, where has this been all year? Where is this Pelicans team been all year? So I get Alvin Gentry might have saved his job last night, because Joker and I were talking about this right before we went to the Bruley game. Right. I pretty much said he has to go. They need to get Luke Walton on the phone and buy him out of his contract whenever Steve Kerr gets back from back surgery. Because this dude, and Perry, you had warned us last year not to get too excited. I digress, but big props to the Pelicans. Apparently there's a pulse in there and some cause for optimism.
Now you see what I'm saying, how exciting basketball is. Look how riled up Eric Hatfield got basketball. So you can't tell. You cannot tell me that basketball is not hype. But we're going to digress, and we want to get you guys to tune in, and check us out when we take you to the basketball season. But as of right now, I want to go to the music selection. And today's music selection is take us back a little bit. I think people may have forgotten about this guy. They think this guy was just only an actor. They only know him from I Am Legend, or you know what I mean. They think like he's just a funny guy, and from Bel Air. But he really wasn't. This guy was actually a legitimate, great, rapper.
Yeah.
When he came out,
he was the king of PG rappers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He was the king of PG rapping.
But back then, he wasn't really considered as clean when he first came out. You know what I mean?
He said the word damn.
Hey, Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince was, hey, they was one of the top groups.
I like
back
him a
then,
lot.
believe me, from Philly. Now I want y'all to check out this. This is one of his classics on the brand new funk.
Oh yeah, rock the beat. That brand new funk. Boy. Joker had to turn my mic down. I was sitting up there jamming to that, boy. That was Will Smith.
Will Smith.
You forget it, really? You're right, Joker. He's become so accomplished as an actor, as an A-lister. It's easy to forget how incredibly gifted he was as a musician, as a rapper. And he was a very unique talent, and he was one of those pioneers of pushing rap into the mainstream.
I think so, and that was a debate I was going to have with you guys, either on the air or off the air one day. And I think about stuff like this all the time, about who is the best actor. Rapper turned actor. We've had a few of them.
Gotta be Will Smith.
You think it's? You think Will Smith?
I don't know.
You got Ice Cube.
I like Ice Cube.
You got Queen Latifah.
I like her. I like all those guys. Oh, Tupac was good.
Who you like?
Ice Cube's clearly
Ice Cube.
Ice-T.
Ice-T was
longevity, talented, creativity. I just think Ice Cube is by far, when you look at his whole spectrum,
Now,
a bit above the rest.
do you mean his whole career, or do you mean like as an actor? Because as an actor, I'm saying I think Will Smith's a slam dunk. If you're talking total body of work as an artist, that is I don't know. That's a tough one. You got Cube. You mentioned Queen Latifah.
Ice-T.
Right. If you want to talk about
LL Cool J.
Right, LL's another one. If you want to talk about crossover acts, heck, even Mark Wahlberg, his 15 minutes I thought would have been up in 1990. He's still doing movies now. He's a different kind of actor.
We're not going to count him.
That's foul. Anyway.
Not the funky bunch.
But look, that was a great musical selection, especially with the movie Concussion coming out in December, starring Will Smith.
That's right.
So look out for that. I think it opens next week. Be on the lookout for that, Concussion.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. The trailer, I saw the trailer for that in the theaters. It looks really... looks very compelling, quite frankly. And I thought Will Smith had the accent of that actor. If you ever saw the actual video documentary League of Denial based on the book about the NFL and the concussions, he sounds just like the doctor in there.
And I'm hearing, man, the NFL hates this movie.
Oh, of course they do. Of course they do.
Expose them and show you what's really going on behind the scenes. And I bet that these players are going to regret taking that buyout for this concussion thing, man, because they really didn't come out with anything. If you really look at it.
Yeah, they
NFL wiggled them way themselves out of that with that settlement they did.
How many millions of dollars was it?
I don't remember exactly, but whatever it was, I know it wasn't enough. And in the paperwork, from what my understanding is, they can't now, they can't come back and sue now. In other words, the settlement was locked tight, and for as you guys, we're gonna, you all have to settle and say you can't come and sue individually or nothing like that. So. They pretty much bought themselves out.
Well, that's. I don't think that's completely over with, though. We'll see how that ends.
We'll see how it ends. Right.
Right. So that settlement was over $760 million.
That's nothing.
But yeah, that's nothing. The judge actually declined the first settlement, the proposed settlement, and sent them back to the drawing board. So now they're covering all the issues that are related to head injury. So the NFL has to cover that medically for their former player.
Yep, that was the sticking point.
Let's move down to Houston, down
Well, yeah, we're talking about a little Southwestern athlete. Of course, that's a Southern University fight song, but, hey, today's the day of the Southwestern Athletic Conference Championship game, and one of the participants in that game faced the Southern University Jaguars last week in the Bayou Classic, and those are the Grambling Tigers, as the Grambling Tigers take their unbeaten conference record into Houston against the Alcorn State, and the Alcorn State Braves with their passing and their They do a lot of stuff very, very well. But I think they're running across the team. Like I said, that goose egg is in the loss column for a reason. And Grambling, you're talking about a team that 2 years ago was in the doldrums. I mean, you had students literally walking off the field, wanting to play, and now here it is 2 years later with some changes affected by those students. And Grambling is about to complete a perfect Southwestern Athletic on the cusp of completing a perfect Southwestern Athletic Conference season. The Southern fought the good fight in the Bayou Classic, but like I said, Grambling showed why they were where they were going into that game last week. Coach?
What do you think, Coach?
Absolutely. This is a really good Grambling football team, as they showed last week against the Jaguars. This should be a very entertaining game down in Houston for the SWAC championship. I don't think that the Grambling team is quite good enough, though, to repeat, to beat again for the second time this season, which is an extremely difficult task. The Alcorn State Braves, who we saw up on Southern University's campus, come in and just kind of pick apart the Jaguars, and cost 3 Jaguar defensive coaches their jobs, actually.
Possibly deservedly so. I mean, Southern's defense.
You've got to be able to stop the top dog.
Yeah.
And Atlanta Braves, the Alcorn State Braves seem to be the top dog in the SWAC. They are the defending Black College National Champions. So I think that they pull off, that they win this game in the SWAC Championship. Grambling gets very close. It's going to be an awesome football game again. But this time I think Alcorn State Braves prevail.
Well, who's favored in this game?
You'd have to give it to Grambling since they won the first one and have been undefeated in the SWAC. So I would think, Vegas doesn't do lines on HBCU games, but you would figure that Grambling would have to be the favorite.
That Grambling would have to be the favorite, and you're picking Alcorn to win?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Oh, man, I thought Grambling did a great job last week in the Bayou Classic. I'm surprised Professor hadn't called in.
Right.
But big shouts out to Grambling Tigers for being able to withstand, because I thought Southern at first had them a little rattled. And but they came through, and like Eric said, they showed why they were the best team by far this year. And so they did a great job. They actually surprised me. I didn't think Grambling was. I thought maybe they had a little chink in their armor, or they wasn't the real deal. But they are the real deal, and they showed me that they're the real deal. So I think they're going to beat Alcorn. I think that they're going to. I think they have the momentum with them from the Bayou Classic. Yes, it is going to be hard to beat a team twice, but I think with Grambling, with the momentum, they've shown they're the best team. They seem to just be on a roll and have a certain way that they play, and it's very effective. And if their defense can hold up with the air attack of Alcorn, then I'm going with Grambling. So I'm going to pick Grambling in this game.
Alcorn State lost to Grambling at home, and granted, it was on a fluke play. It was a 1 point in overtime, and it was because of a missed extra point. So it wasn't like Grambling beat him up. But there's there's a saying, kind of in boxing, you got to knock out the champion. And when you're looking at a 9-0 Grambling team, not saying that they haven't won the championship yet, but they're 9-0. They haven't had too many close calls at all this year. Southern probably gave them as much of a fight as they got, and Arkansas Pine Bluff certainly managed to put some points on the board. But Grambling really, other than Alcorn State, has not really been challenged this year in Southwestern Athletic Conference competition. Meanwhile, Alcorn State, they seem to be able, this is my opinion on Alcorn State and a little bit I've been able to read about them, is that they have a way of pouncing on opponents that have that inferior defense. In other words, their thing is that passing game and then the quarterback running off of the option, and they just pour it on you and pour it on you and pour it on you if you don't have the defense. If you have a defense that can contain them, that can take that first punch, Jackson State, they only scored 14 points against them. And Jackson State has its own issues, as we discussed a little while ago. So, they only put up 14 against them. I think Grambling's defense has enough to contain. I think Grambling State, if they can beat them at home, granted being very close, I think they can beat them at a neutral site. I think Grambling State's going to be 10-0. They're going to be perfect this year, and I think they're going to win the Southwestern Athletic Conference Championship. It's going to be a very good game. I expect it's going to be at 3 o'clock on ESPNU, everybody, so you can see Grambling and Alcorn. 3 o'clock on ESPNU. I'll be tuned in, and I'm looking forward to it. But I think Grambling State wins. We'll see who's right. Coach hasn't swung and missed on too many SWAC games, so I'm not going to stick my chest out too much. But I think at least some Tigers are going to bring home a conference championship to Louisiana.
That's a good bet. But what else we got on the college scene, man? It's a big weekend.
Oh man, well, on the college scene now that we moved from HBCU college football, I guess we got to talk about
talked about the Mad Hatter. Who was the? What you think about the Mad Hatter? He got the reprieve.
The Mad Hatter, that death row, that he got clemency. We talked about clemency last night, and it looks like that's what he got. He got some clemency. It says, you can say I'm crazy. The best people are. Well, we'll be playing that tune. I thought that might have been the last time we listened. This week might have been the last week we played the tune, as we might have been. Coach Miles might have been shown the door, but
no.
Les Miles had a little something for you. The LSU Tigers defeated Texas A&M about literally running the ball down their throat, which is about what I expected. Not the prettiest game in the world, but they literally, as I expected, ran the ball so much that A&M eventually snapped and broke, beating their rivals to the west. And Les Miles, shortly after the game, it was announced that he will continue to be the coach in the future. Now, I don't know what went on behind the scenes, but what I did notice when Joe Oliva walked up, there was some yellow and clearish kind of substance on his face, looked like egg, because he took a big egg bath, and I don't think it was from going to the day spa like some of the ladies do when they put all kinds of food on their face. I don't know how that works, but I saw a big omelet on Joe Oliva's face, and Les Miles was doing the dab dance or whatever, and was puffing his chest out and stuff, and Coach Miles will be back next year, and I think that's the right choice. Let me tell you, they carried him. I was thinking, I was actually at the game, and I saw signs up there, fire Joe Oliva, not keep Les Miles, and people are chanting Les Miles, and the players are carrying him off the field. And I'm thinking to myself, are you really going to pay $15 million to get rid of this guy? Really? So some changes need to be made in Tigerland. No getting around that. Cam Cameron's got to go. I think he is gone. Les Miles has got to take that vice grip he's had on the playbook and let it go, and let somebody else come in and develop the quarterback and develop the passing game. And I think if he's derelict in doing that next year, then we should have a conversation. But this man has only lost 3 games this year. Give him, when something's broke, give him a chance to fix it. So I think the right choice was made. I think cooler heads prevailed. I think fiscally it was the right decision to make, because if they do fire him, you might need that $15 million to pay somebody of Jimbo Fisher's caliber, for example, to come in. So good on Les Miles, good on LSU, and Joker.
Yeah, hey, what I mean, I could tell, that all worked out for the best, I think, because it sounds like, even what you're saying now is, hey, he needs to get rid of the Cam Cameron. I think that's exactly what was the point. That at the end of the day, it showed Les Miles, hey, we're not playing with you. We'll get rid of you.
Right.
We love you, but we'll get rid of you, man.
That message was sent.
And Les Miles, it showed him that, I got to make some change. I have to get like Nick Saban changed a little bit.
Well, he brought, of all people, who would have ever thought he'd have brought in Lane Kiffin?
Exactly.
Ever. And he said he hated the spread.
With the Johnny Manziels and the Jameis Winstons and the athletic spread offense, it started to beat Nick Saban. He wasn't as dominant. So he changed before it got too late.
Right. Smart
man. He knows, okay, smart people that's not CEOs. That's right. And people that's very smart, even if they don't know how to do the job, they get the smart people around them.
That's right.
To do it.
That's right.
So, another one is Tom Coughlin. He changed a little bit.
He not only did he save his job, he changed his legacy by changing. He was about to lose his locker room, and he is one of the most disciplinarian, stubborn, hard coaches in football, and he changed and became he'll probably go in the Hall of Fame now.
Now Les Miles. Now on the other hand, they was talking about how you've never really seen a coach. I've seen coaches. Philip Farmer, a coach at Tennessee, did good. They pushed him out. Even Steve Spurrier was at Florida before he went to South Carolina.
Well, yeah, but he went for greener pastures, though.
Yeah, I know, but he had kind of lost, the aura down there at Florida at that time. So he was going for better, for greener pastures or whatever. But he had kind of lost. I've seen a few coaches that've been at places for a long time. Even Joe Pop to an extent. But he had so much control down there that even though they was kind of screaming for him, he was too old.
Right. Well, I mean,
he had
look,
so much love down there to he made his own.
Well, he also
was the GM.
He also was in the. I mean, as old and everything they said about him. He made some runs. Penn State had a shot at being in the championship game a couple of times in his final years. You know, of course, things happened in conference.
He was doing good.
And then, of course, we know how his career unfolded, which is tragic, and we don't need to go into that. But yes, good point.
But I digress. But I just thought it worked out on every end. It just showed Les Miles, hey, you know, you got to try to, you know what I mean, change a little bit.
Yeah.
Not trying to make. But go ahead, Perry. So.
Well, no, let's look at what happened. Let's talk about the class of Les Miles, because all during this situation, not once did he say, well, you know, Cameron was fighting cancer all summer. How's he going to do?
We lost Coach. Oh, here he is. Okay, go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm saying that Les Miles is so classy that not once during this ordeal did he say, well, he
didn't throw him under the bus.
Cameron couldn't develop a quarterback this summer because he was fighting cancer all summer. You know, and that didn't come up not once. You know, it's just this football team is a really good football team. And yes, they do need a different offensive structure. We knew going into the season that the line was questionable, offensively and defensively. And that showed itself. When they played Ole Miss, they were boys playing against men.
That's right.
Ole Miss started 15 seniors. And LSU's out there playing with mostly freshmen. You know, freshmen and sophomores. So, with what he had, less that is. Does he need to make adjustments to the offense? I agree.
You there, Coach?
Could he have fired Cam Cameron over the summer? No, you can't fire that man while he's out fighting cancer. So you have to stick with him. You know, and he did that. People over profits, and that's how classy Les Miles is.
And you're right, Coach.
I totally agree with you.
And you see why he's so beloved. I mean, you saw the fans love him. I'm an outspoken fan. I don't have to emphasize that. But you saw the love the players had for him. You saw how he stopped mid-interview with ESPN and started singing the alma mater. And that's why you see the love for this man. And I'm telling you, an above-average X's and O's guy who can recruit. He's the best recruiter I think we've had. I think he's even a notch better than Nick Saban. When you recruit superior talent, you can be an above-average X's and O's guy and have the right assistants around you and win championships and compete. And he's won 2 SEC championships, 3 Western championships, a national title, and he has a chance to do it next year with Leonard Fournette coming back.
He's a great guy. He did a lot. He's got to do better. I mean, we can go on his accolades, and you know, and it's almost like when you're coaching and you're 8-3 at Memphis, or you're at a school like that, you're the best coach. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just, it just comes with the territory. But I totally agree with what Perry said. I really like Nick Saban. I mean, I really like Les Miles. You know, one thing he also didn't do, he didn't throw his quarterback under the bus.
That's
he didn't throw offensive coordinator under the bus. He kind of knew that he wasn't ready. But he tried to guard him a little bit until he had to throw him out of there.
Right.
At the Alabama game. But I think he knew in practice, when people kept saying, let him pass the ball more, let Brandon, throw the ball, let Brandon Harris. I think he knew all the while in practice. He can see what the guy can do. And also what I didn't like was Joe Oliva. For you to get up there in front of the public and say, "Oh, well, I told everybody I was going to wait till the end of the year, and I'm just so happy to work with Les to the next year," and just a lie like that, not be and say, "Hey,
Joker, what's he going to say? What they put? Well, I guess Coach put a banana in my tailpipe,
during the process, he can, you can always just be honest. You don't have to say, "Hey, I don't like the guy." You can say, "Hey, we're trying to see where our program is trying to go. We're negotiating." But to lie like that in front of everybody.
Joker, if he's totally honest, then he stands up there and says, "Well, we've been in negotiation with Jimbo."
Right.
Well, I mean, but
right. I mean, how's that going to look? Hey, what's he going to say? I follow. Go ahead, Coach.
That's the position that the LSU faithful need to look at. The allegations surrounding him with Don Chavis now alleging that his contract was changed after he signed it. That's the position that has some questionable performance, that athletic director.
That's right.
position.
And I think he showed that in the way that he presented himself on TV. And people is looking at that. A lot of people calling for his job because it just shows, you can say things and you don't have to be totally honest to say we're doing this, but it's just the way you went about and the way you came out trying to convince people like you wasn't. You know what I mean? It was a bad look, and it it just showed me morally how you were to me.
If you like the movie Beverly Hills Cop, Joe Oliva fell for the banana in his tailpipe. That's all I'll say right there. He tried to start that car and it blew up in his face.
Let's see what we can do next year.
Right.
Number one recruiting class coming in, and I got great confidence if he get the right staff around him. Hey, be right back. Let's go, Tyler.
We got a lot of
but here's what you may have done though. So now your head recruiter, Coach Frank Wilson, the running back coach, because of the uncertainty that was surrounding Les Miles, now his name is coming up as the possible next head coach of Tulane.
Wow.
When that happens, now you have to compete for the best talent in the state again. You have to compete for it, whereas right now you get it all by default.
Yeah, he put a fence. I mean, Nick Saban put that fence around Louisiana, and Les Miles made it from a 10-foot fence to a 15-foot fence. Frank Wilson put barbed wire and razor wire on that fence. I have confidence. Les Miles, before and after Frank Wilson, I think what always was and always will be a great recruiter. I think he'll find the solution, but that's another weapon in his arsenal now. He had a quarterback committee that, in the midst of all the uncertainty, went to Florida, that committed to Florida instead of staying here, thanks to Joe Oliva and his foolishness on the fence. So I mean, he was definitely crippled. That whole incident crippled the program unnecessarily. So I'm with you, Coach, on that one. He was dealt a blow he didn't ask for, but he's handled it with grace and class, and that's why I expect, and that's why I'm proud to have the man as the coach. I do hope he makes the changes he needs to make because this is ultimately a production-based business. We have a lot of college football action going on, though, folks. We have a lot of college football action going on.
Big games.
SEC championship. We have number 2 Alabama hosting number 18 Florida. I use the expression "falling up the steps" a lot to, falling up the steps in Forrest Gumping for when you kind of, through no merit of your own, end up in a better position, either from good luck or from whatever. Boy, Florida fell up the stairs into the Eastern Division Championship in the SEC. I think they're going to get knocked down the stairs and into the cellar by Alabama today. That game at 3 o'clock on CBS, the SEC championship game in Atlanta, Georgia. Honestly, I think I'll probably be more engaged with more intrigued by the SWAC championship game than the SEC championship game by the end of that first quarter.
There's a lot of championship games. You got the Big Ten championship game.
That's going to be good.
That's going to be a big one. But this one here is a very important game, I think, for Alabama. I think they're going to come out and really bring it to Florida because Nick Saban's the kind of guy that he's going to be up on not letting his guys underestimate Florida. To come in
he won't.
Overlooking Florida because he's an X and O. He's going to make sure you do not let Florida, come in and don't get too hyped. So he's going to be X and O's really on this game to make sure he don't have a slip up because this is the only game that could be a slip up for him. So
you're right.
They're going to concentrate everything on this game. So I expect a big performance. Everybody's, real disciplined. Everybody's going to be on their A game. So Alabama big. The other games, the Michigan State and what is it? Michigan State and Iowa, right? Another big game right there. Wow.
It's going to be COACHING. Wow. Kurt Ferentz versus Mike D'Antonio. And, those are two. Iowa's a team they're as corn-fed as they have corn in Iowa. Run the ball, good linebacking games, no frills. Right. Michigan State has Connor Cook when Connor Cook is on. Now, is he playing? Because did he get hurt?
Yeah, he's playing. I'm going to go with Connor Cook on this one. I kind of wanted to pick Iowa just to try to stir the pot and have an upset pick, but I don't know. I'll pick one of the other games upset pick. I'm going with Michigan State on this one.
Actually, I think it's a minor upset. I think Iowa's perfect season comes to an end. I think Michigan State, they've been battle-tested. They've been put in the fires. They faced Ohio State. They had kind of a lucky break against Michigan, but they still won the game. I like Michigan State in this game, too. I just think they have the it factor. Coach?
Michigan State, and Alabama.
So we're unanimous so far. All three of us have Michigan State, and all three of us have Alabama.
We also got with North Carolina and
that's
Clemson.
Going to be interesting. That's the game of the week.
That's what I like. That's what I like. North Carolina for the upset in this game.
If Clemson loses, this is their best this is the best opportunity for Clemson to go Clemson. But you know what? I've said that a couple of times this year, that when I drink the orange Kool-Aid, I've been poisoned. But you know what? They've done it this year. Dabo Swinney has had his team. He's had his team prepared and had his team. They've faced all the tough challenges. They're unbeaten. I think they beat North Carolina. I don't think North Carolina can throw the ball against Clemson enough to beat them. And Deshaun Watson has his eyes on that Heisman. So I think Clemson wins big. But let me tell you, you talk about falling up the stairs. If North Carolina wins that game with just one loss and a perfect conference record, I think they fall up the stairs into the playoffs. But I think Clemson wins. Coach.
Clemson.
He's got Clemson. We got Clemson. You got North Carolina. I think a team from the Carolinas will win that game. And finally, USC, Stanford. It's not going to have any playoff implications. I'll just say that I think USC has got a lot of momentum. I think they win the Pac-12.
Stanford definitely going to win that one.
Coach.
Stanford.
All right. Well, we'll see who's right and who's wrong. I'm picking, I guess a minor upset in USC. We'll see. But as we always do around this time every week, we talk about who is right and who's wrong, and we're back to our regular segment. Not a whole lot we talked about last week, but here's another edition of I Told You So.
I told you. What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? 'Cause I told you. And when did I tell you? A long time ago. And what did I say will happen when I told you? Exactly what just happened.
Field position and defeated Vermilion Catholic 34-12, so they will advance to the state championship game for the second consecutive year. Last year they lost pretty handily to Washita Christian. This year they will face 4th-seeded St. Mary's December 4th at 10 a.m. in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. And I have a gut feeling, just a feeling. You know, they're seeded 6th, and St. Mary's is seeded 4th. I think it might be a different year for Southern Lab. I think this might be the year they finally reach the pinnacle and take home a state championship. I said you could throw the records out the window, but it's hard to ignore that 0 in the loss column. And I don't know if Perry's still on hold, but I gotta favor the Grambling Tigers in this game today.
You're going with Grambling.
I gotta go with Grambling. Yeah.
I'm going with Southern in this game.
I think the will of Chad Williams will be too much. Diversity. He looked me in my eye and he said he's gonna kill us in the Bible.
I'm going with that. I'm going with the Big Brother. I feel like that little you want to win. Hey, I'm not going against the grain.
On the field, I don't even think A&M has what it takes to stop LSU, so I do think the Tigers win one for the old Hatter today.
I'm picking Texas A&M today.
LSU.
So turn the mics back on. So look, I mean, you know, Perry's been on a roll so far. So I don't know, man. I think Grambling has a lot to worry about today in the SWAC championship because Perry's been hitting those balls, hitting nothing but singles and doubles so far.
Yeah, he's been pretty good, man. He's been on a little run for a minute.
Coming up in about 4 minutes, we have Noel Jackson with Music Satisfaction. Real quick, let's talk about the grown men of the National Football League, the Saints.
Cam.
Whoa, Cam.
Oh, Cam.
Oh, boy. Well, whoa, Cam Newton is coming down to the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. And I got to tell you, man, he is looking as good as ever. And when the Saints, given the way they're playing defense, have to face him. Oh, Cam. It's not looking good for the black and gold. As Brian Hoyer looked like a superstar last week. I think, Rob Ryan's motto was to hold the line at 50. I think Dennis Allen will probably hold the line at 50 also, but the Saints might only score 35, which normally would be pretty good, but it's going to be pretty bad tomorrow. I'm probably crying in my beer coming home from the Superdome. I like the Carolina Panthers to go 11-0 in this game tomorrow.
I like the Saints in this game. And it's crazy because everything points to Cam, and I've been, of course, a supporter of Cam this year. But this is the type of game that the Saints will win. This is the type of game that they show up, you coming into their home, and I predicted them to go 6-10. So this is a game that they're probably going to win, a rival game.
Wow.
So I'm going with the Saints.
Wow. Well, if Perry picks the Saints, I'll be optimistic. Perry, who you got on this one?
Wait a minute now. So you picked them to go 6-10 after week 6?
I picked them to go 6-10 after week 1. You know, remember when they lost against Arizona, I said they're going.
Because I seem to have you on record as saying they're going to win the division.
Right.
Shoot.
No, but you're absolutely right here, Joker. This is the type of game that they will play very well in, and a game that you would think they could win. However, the Carolina Panthers are just too much, too good for them. Although, Eric, I think you're going to be very well entertained at the game.
I hope so.
Yeah.
We have the other National Football League game. Perry, my memory's failing. It was the Minnesota Vikings, and they have a big
Seattle
game.
Seahawks.
Was it Seattle?
Yes.
Minnesota, Seattle.
At Minnesota.
That's going to be a very telling game. It's going to tell you who is who. Is Seattle really on the way? Did Seattle just have some hiccups early in the year, and they're back on the way up, and they're the same team they've been, the two-time defending NFC champions, or are they on the way down? Is Minnesota really on the way up? You know, they should have beaten a struggling Green Bay team, and Green Bay kind of showed them who was still boss. And that was a crazy game on Thursday night, by the way. But anyway, so I got to go. I still got to go. You got to knock out the champ. I'm going to go with the Seahawks, but this is a very, very, very telling game.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game. I'm going to go with the Seahawks, but I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota wins. Seahawks are not the same team. But I'm going to go with this. I'm going to pick Seahawks.
Coach?
I know I'm strapping.
Yeah, after watching Seattle beat Pittsburgh last week, I'm going to go with Seattle as well.
So we're Seattle across the board. Folks, we are almost out of time, but thank you for joining us on another fantastic edition. Log in, LouisianaAllAmericanSports.com tonight to catch the Bruley Invitational Championship game. Joker and I will be on hand. Joker, Perry, 30 seconds, folks. Fellas.
I just want to give shouts out to my family and everybody that told me happy birthday. It's my birthday. It's Joker P. I'm still kicking it. And, just want to thank y'all again.
Boom, boom.
Yeah, Uncle Luke.
Birthday. Boom, boom.
So, currently in the city of Baltimore, William Porter, the first of 6 officers, is on trial for the death of Freddie Gray. Pay attention there. Daniel Holtzclaws in Oklahoma, the former officer who was accused of sexually assaulting 13 African-American women while on duty. His trial is going on as well. We must stay vigilant and not get too distracted by the sports world. ADT, JNS, love you.
Have a good afternoon.